Once upon a time, a young potter named Kian lived by a river that wound through the valley, like an old storyteller's hand, tracing forgotten tales. His craft was precise, his hands steady, but his heart was restless. No matter how many pots he shaped, he felt something was missing. One evening, as the sky darkened and the river whispered against the banks, Kian saw an old fisherman mending his net by the water's edge. The man's fingers worked methodically, tying each knot with the same quiet attention he had given for decades. Kian approached and asked, "How do you remain so content doing the same work every day?" And the fisherman smiled without looking up. "You know, this net has been torn many times. If I focused only on the holes, I'd think it was useless. But I see the hole, so it serves me." Kian frowned. "But isn't that just ignoring the flaws?" The fisherman held up the net to the fading light. "Come." He walked to the river and let the net slip into the current. The water caught it, stretching it taut, revealing both its gaps and its strength. "The river flows whether I fish or not. The net is useful whether it is perfect or not. My hands move, the work is done. That is enough." Kian watched the net sway in the water, its imperfections dissolving into motion. "Does the river ever resist?" the fisherman asked suddenly. Kian shook his head. "No, it just moves." The fisherman nodded. "And so does the fish, and so does the net, and so do I." Kian walked back to his workshop in silence. That night, he ran his fingers over his latest pot. He had rejected it earlier. Too uneven, too flawed. Now he traced the tiny ridges and dips where his hands had shaped the clay, where the wheel had spun its own rhythm. The next day, when he sat at his wheel, he did not think about perfection or what was missing. He let his hands move. The clay spun, the form emerged, and for the first time, he felt whole. You see in life, in your life, you may struggle with perfectionism and the feeling that something is missing. You believe that flaws make things incomplete. The fisherman, on the other hand, understands that imperfection are part of the whole, whether in a fishing net, a river, or life itself. By watching the fisherman work and listening to his wisdom, Kian learned that true fulfillment doesn't come from chasing perfection, but from embracing things as they are. The river does not resist, it simply flows. The net is not flawless, yet it serves its purpose. The hands move, the work is done, and that is enough. So apply this lesson to your craft or your life. Instead of obsessing over perfection, allow yourself to create freely and understand that your life is already whole. This is Dare to Do Motivation Stories. Thank you so much for watching, and stay blessed.